welcome to one of our videos about the First Order Stormtrooper assembly. This video is going to be covering the thermal detonator, which is 4 separate pieces for the basic assembly. Joined here today with CJ and Kevin. Kevin is a semi-experienced armor builder and CJ is completely new. This is the first time I'm assembling this canister as well, so we're all going to be doing it for the first time just like you. If you have interest in the kits, this is one of the things that we have to do while building it. I'm going to first show you all the parts incorporated. You have the right end, the left end, the outside, and the back mount. I tried to make this as Lego as possible by having parts be very snap tight like and be able to fit in easily. These are on the right side here, and not the actually on the opposite side. And that's a nice thing about it, is you almost can't mess up because they were designed one way. Yes, it was on the appropriate side the first time, and it kind of snaps in place. Now what you want to do is try to shade back this portion of it so that more of the rounded end of the canister shows, so we can trim back the plastic a little bit more there, and probably so on the other side. It's going to fit in one place, just like this. This actually is about how you're going to want it to fit, because we're going to glue this in place and then put a little bit of body filler around there and sand it to make it look completely seamless. So let's start with getting these trimmed up and glued in place, so y'all can see that too. It's that simple. They're going to take a look at the canister, but I'm going to show you one that's a little less trimmed, and it fits together the same way, so you don't have to worry about over trimming too much. You can see how ovular this one is. There's plenty more room to trim, and you can see the outside edges were left on here. These need to be trimmed off completely. You can do it however you want. I've got a set of heavy duty shears here that will take care of it pretty quickly. And anything else can be evened up on. The belt sander. See that these are also only meant to go one way. There is a slightly indented side, so it's going to line up on one side or the other without issue. See, there's plenty here left that needs to be pencil marked and trimmed, so we can butt join them later. So let's start out by gluing these end caps in. While they're doing that, I'm going to go over to You have a belt down. Now that we've determined which side is which, we'll go ahead and glue the caps in place onto the back side of it, and follow this rule for everything that we do. Any surfaces that are going to be glued need to be sanded first. So you want to go over everything with sandpaper that you know you're going to glue down, just to rough up the surface and be able to stick to. As you can see here, test fit is very crucial. Another fun thing are pencil marks, so you know where to line up to. So now that I know where the fit is, I know which areas I'm actually gluing down and working with. That's why I'm pencil marking them here. I'm pleased with the lineup. These areas are going to get filled with Bondo later. We wanted them a touch shorter so we can get it inside there.
How much of a lip are you leaving?
None. Either flush or slightly recessed. That's fine to me. And even from a distance, it doesn't need filling. But we're going to fill them anyway. Because that's what heroes do.
Yeah. And the same thing for the other side, also flush with the rim.
Yeah, as flush as you can get it, and by golly, look at the camera. Yeah, they're looking pretty good, yay! I'm gonna start gluing.
Okay, this is a lot easier than the other one. No, it is.
Why do you think I made that rotocast mold?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that rotocast mold, that's a talking point almost right there. Because you could sit down and just discuss this. If you experienced our old canister, yes, it goes together in a very similar fashion, but this one was designed flat out to be as much of a snap-tight canister as possible. There's still other things to go over with it, but this thing is just so much easier to do.
Oh yeah, dude, look at it lines up fine.
Yeah, and you know, the evolution of our canister ended up being 3D printing one, finishing it, pulling a mold off of it for rotocasting, rotocasting 3 of them, and making a production set of production molds off of those, because these canisters just aren't simple canisters like even a Rogue One Stormtrooper. Since we can't get like the exact right size pipe for them, we backform a real simple canister. It has nice little end caps. No, you have an end cap, and you just drop it in and glue it, and you're happy. Everybody's happy. You know, this, not so much.
Have you started gluing?
No, I haven't started gluing. I was bullshitting to get filling. But I'll put it on bench and I'll start gluing. Products we use: thick super glue, and any brand of accelerator will work. This is Instaset brand accelerator. This is 2P10 thick. Instaset brand thick super glue works just fine. So it doesn't really matter, but you want to buy like 4 ounces and get the thick or the extra thick. Just up the pencil marks. Back to our pencil marks. apply pressure until you get it to all lined up and right back to the pencil marks. And then squeeze it, hold pressure. And speed things up. Get a chemical bond going, squirt in a little accelerant. I felt some in here. On the inside. Got a nice permanent bond going in there. Fits in there so good already. Kind of don't want to move it. I just want to get some glue in there and pressure on it. But oh well. Mine are together real well. How are y'all's?
Good so far.
You good? Ah, we see CJ's going the ultra hardcore method and using a Sharpie for his pencil marks on white armor. So are you. Oh boy.
Gotta be painted.
Well, yeah, but Sharpies, well. We use good paint, so. Okay, so phase 2. Which one's the top and bottom? Oh, I got a little bit more sanding to do on mine. Even it up. Probably gonna have to do some shrimp. All right, we ready to move on to phase 2?
Yes,
let's move on to phase 2. Now we can move on to phase 2. Because we're wondering, how are we going to connect all of this together? Because ultimately, this needs to be glued onto here, and we're going to end up having to fill this seam. So, how are we going to do that? Easy. We need to cut a hole in here. Okay, this hole is going to be multi-purpose. Whenever we cut this out, we're going to have access to the inside of it to put any shims in here that we need, or to do any additional gluing, because we're going to have to butt join these two together and then fill that seam. So let's go ahead and cut out the middle part. Leave plenty of room for mounting, so cut about 3/4 of an inch inside, and you'll be good to go. You can accomplish this using a razor knife. Always with a good sharp blade.
Just remember, I'm off duty today.
Let me bleed out. All I'm doing with the razor knife is scoring out a box. And you can see there, it just scored enough to have the razor knife go all the way in. And snapped it out. Score and snap.
I was just trying to see how big you did everything.
Leave 3/4 of an inch, give or take. I can build faster if I don't have to do this. Alright, we are moving on to phase 3 of this. Let's determine if we're going to need supports for butt joining and fill. So we're going to just overlap the canister and see where we are.
First off, which is up, which is down?
Well, they're only going to really fit together one way with the design, so it'll kind of mold in. Yeah, it'll mold in. You're going to have more of the top part exposed.
Okay, so the thin part up here.
Yeah. Yeah, the thin part on camera. So you want to start lining up this side. And we definitely want to butt joint it here in the top. We can. I've got some excess here at the bottom that will need to be trimmed off.
Actually, that's a pretty decent. Hardly any seam. Look. Let's just see the lines. Yeah. Let's double check. Same thing.
Yeah. We got it right. These are fine. So this one, it said you don't have to be overzealous with your trimming. I'm going to need to take a little bit off here, try to make it butt up better. Right now they're overlapping really well with each other. And I don't have much to take off, so I'm going to be very careful and take off about 1/4 inch.
Take the back portion, the bottom portion. Are you also butt joining the bottom portion or overlapping?
Both of them. Everything will be butt joint.
Need a lot trimming.
Got the charcoal.
Mark on it.
Make sure you do a straight line down. No, it's fine.
Yeah, and you don't really have to worry about over trimming since we're going to be backing it with plastic and butt joining it. I'm even trimming an extra smidge off in the corners to help with the overlap or the butt joint. Yeah, that's much better. Like each side can leave a little bit of a gap, but we're going to fill all this with just regular Bondo.
I just noticed something too.
Yeah, you can leave a little bit of a gap. It doesn't hurt.
No, right here. Like you can see the lip right here.
Yeah.
You should probably have trimmed it down to here to make it an easier fit on
You
that.
can go ahead and cut some off extra if you need to.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
It's not going to hurt anything actually at this stage. You need
No, it's
some
already
extra
in.
room and some fit. Like Kevin was just saying there, it won't hurt to take a little extra off because we're not doing anything with this area. So just a couple snips.
Down the inside.
You can see this. You can see the line that goes right here. Because when you put this on, this is actually sitting on top of this. Is why it sits up like that in the space. But if I cut that off so it sits in here, it'll sit flush. You got your snips over there.
Yeah, I'm cutting up a fair amount in.
That's what you're saying.
That definitely helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's still extending around to a crazy overlap here. I've trimmed off a good chunk. So that is another option too. If you just want it to overlap, you can, when you come to the fill stage, you can just Bondo it instead. So that could be user preference. We can actually all kind of demonstrate the same techniques. And I need to trim down my edges here a little bit too.
Oh, yep, there's my thing.
So now we just gotta trim this everything. Looks to be about.
Not the time yet, but maybe trim. Almost looks like on this seam right here it could be trimmed. On mine. You can see. And then on this side, flush.
And
For this butt joint to work, I need to glue some plastic on the underside here so it has a place to rest whenever we come to fill it. So I'm going to put a little extra scrap plastic and just glue it along the bridge on the underside. Alright, I've just taken a scrap piece of plastic that we have and I'm going to trim a little bit the size, glue in here. And always sand your surfaces before you glue them together. So other options are to do an overlap, and we can just build up the Bondo layer right there. I'm going to go ahead and glue the butt joint half for the top, and we will glue it back here and work it back across until it's all nice and even.
Where'd you get your spare plastic? Is that it? By pressing this down, making another pencil mark, we have a guideline to follow.